For 51 seasons, he was the voice you heard when you tuned in to watch your Buffalo Sabres play. He was the longest-serving one-team play-by-play announcer in NHL history, a record worthy of his talent. But for so many, he was so much more than just an announcer. He was your guide through the cheers, the tense moments, and the heartbreak. And today, we're saying goodbye to Rick Jeanneret. The longtime Sabres announcer passed away Thursday night after years of dealing with multi-organ failure. Earlier today, members of the Sabres and the broadcast team spoke about the impact RJ made on the city and the team.
He's going in on goal. He should.
I never tried to be anything other than what he was. And I just think he had such a passion for the game. And then a bigger passion for this organization. I asked him one time, I said, hey, look, why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep working? You're 80 years old, 75 at the time, maybe. And he goes, I have to. And there's a lot of people that can't see this game, or the people that, are watching the game. They depend on me. And that's why I keep going. So it wasn't a selfish reason for him to keep going. It was him feeling that he owed something to the fans.
With me, it works like the spirit is.
Good evening. I'm Mary Alice Demler. Scott Levin has the night off. Today, we are celebrating the life and legacy of Rick Jeanneret. 2 on Your Side sports director Adam Bonini is live at a memorial at KeyBank Center's Alumni Plaza, where fans, Adam, have been honoring the man known as RJ.
Yeah, Mary Alice, good evening, everyone. Absolutely. You see the memorial here that the Sabres set up behind me. Fans continuing through the course of the afternoon to pay tribute to him. Really emblematic of the relationship that we just heard Rob Ray mention a moment ago. And I had the chance to sit down, really a privilege to sit down for an extended interview with Rick Jeanneret before his final call this past spring. And we talked about how he was approaching that moment. And I think his answer does a lot to sum up why he was so successful as a broadcaster and certainly so authentic as a person, that he essentially wanted to finish his career the way he started it.
I'm trying to make him just be the same as I have been all along. I don't want to change myself because I'm on my way out the door. I don't want that to happen. And I don't want people to think that I'm changing for that reason. So I'm consciously thinking about just keep your nose to the grindstone and do what you've been doing for the last half century.
He scores! Holy mackerel, roll the highlight film!
Whatever I did, I'm happy that I'm going out on top of my profession. I'm very happy about that. And I don't think anybody will doubt me. Time goes on.
Inevitably, it does, but Jeanneret's calls, his larger-than-life personality, among the reasons why his name hangs in the rafters at KeyBank Center, as much a part of the fabric and culture of this great sports community as anyone. I want to bring in our Sabres insider, Paul Hamilton, also of WGR Sports Radio 550. Been covering this team longer than I have, but we both go way back, and we obviously feel the connection between the fans and RJ, but it went much deeper than that in terms of this organization and so many players here through the years.
The players loved him. They just did. They didn't want to let him down on RJ night where they win in overtime. RJ's last call is an overtime goal. How poetic is that? And the players just loved him. As you know, the fans loved him. But just if he walked into this building, the people in the ticket office loved him. The people who made the meals loved him. I mean, he'd come in for that meal downstairs and he'd hold court. You'd hear some great stories, and he had the same spot reserved for him. And if you sat with him during that meal, you enjoyed yourself for that hour just listening to RJ.
Sure, and I think back to 06, that heartbreaking loss, Game 7 to Carolina in the Eastern Conference Finals. What it meant to those players. I believe it was the only time in his career he actually came into the locker room after a game to share in that emotion. His relationship with Ryan Miller, among so many others. I mean, the impact that had on the players at that time.
Players don't forget that. Ryan Miller talked about that. Him coming in there and just his calming sense of, they're devastated they just lost this series. They could have gone to the Stanley Cup Finals, and they lose it in Game 7. But that steadying force that he is, he's always positive with the players. What Granato said, when he comes in the coaching room, he'll always bring something positive with him and uplift the coaches, uplift the players when he comes into that room.
Another way to measure the impact of Rick Jeanneret. Paul Hamilton, thank you very much. Mary Alice, such a profound impact, such an important figure on the air and off for hockey in Western New York and beyond. Let's send it back into you.
No question. Feels like losing a member of the family. Adam and Paul, thank you so much for that tonight. Well, fans and hockey players alike are remembering Rick Jeanneret today across Western New York as someone who truly loved the game and his job. 2 on Your Side's Kelly Dudzik went to the Northtown Center this afternoon and shares some of their memories with us.
Yeah, I always listen to him, you know. Always listen to his, the voice and all that. Even down in San Antonio, you know, we'd listen to him, get the remote broadcast.
You'd be hard-pressed to find a Sabres fan or hockey player who doesn't have vivid, fond memories of Rick Jeanneret.
He was so special. His voice was so unique, and he was always having fun, and you couldn't help but share with that fun. And he painted the picture so well of what was going on the ice. And I remember as a little kid, we lived out in the country and we could still hear the games. It was great.
He made watching hockey more exciting than playing it sometimes.
And it doesn't matter if you played just for fun or played as a pro. RJ made a big impact.
He was so genuine and true, and what you saw is what you got, and he never tried to be anything different. And great friend, and he was a very loyal person. And there was no bigger fan to the Sabres than Rick Jeanneret.
Some fans made a lunchtime pilgrimage to Alumni Plaza to pay their respects, while others shared memories online. E.J. Butler said, Rick Jeanneret has been the voice in my ear since I was 11 years old. When he called the radio broadcasts in the early 70s, I'd often go to sleep with his voice calling late-night West Coast games with a transistor radio under my pillow. Simply put,
That was the thing with him. You didn't feel like he was working when he was doing it. He was doing something he loved, and he made you love it with him.
On Your Side in Amherst, Kelly Dudzik, Channel 2 News.
All well said. Thank you, Kelly, for that. And we'll have more on the legacy of Rick Jeanneret coming up on Channel 2 News at 6.